Link TV, connecting you to the world. Link TV is viewer supported. Watch more at linktv.org.
Link TV presents Mosaic World News from the Middle East. Here are today's top stories.
Lebanon detains Israel spy suspect. Iran denies attack on Ahmadinejad. And Egyptian markets gear up for Ramadan. Mosaic World News from the Middle East begins now.
This morning, the Iranian capital Tehran was the focus of international headlines. Conflicting reports emerging out of Tehran have confirmed that the motorcade of Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad has come under attack in the western city of Hamdan. The news of the attack, which was carried by international media outlets, was first reported by conservative Iranian website Khabar Online. According to Khabar Online, the attack was carried out by a firebomb, injuring several people, including journalists who were accompanying Ahmadinejad's motorcade. The news agency said that the president was unharmed. After the attack was confirmed by the president's media office, the official Iranian news agency dismissed it and broadcast excerpts of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's speech at the Jerusalem Stadium in the city of Hamdan. The speech was presumably given by Ahmadinejad after the attack. In the video, Ahmadinejad appears to be in good condition while addressing a gathering in Hamdan. Joining us from Tehran is our Dubai correspondent, Rida Al-Basha. Rida, what exactly took place today? There have been conflicting reports about an assassination attempt against Ahmadinejad.
The information we have been able to gather so far is sketchy, as conflicting reports continue to emerge out of Tehran. Having said that, the president's media office confirmed that what happened today near the motorcade of Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was not a firebomb attack, but a powerful firework that produced a loud sound and heavy smoke.
مكتب رئاسة الجمهورية ما إذا كان هناك أي من الجرحى أو ما تعرض أحد للجراح أو لأي شيء آخر.
The president's office confirmed that there have been no casualties in the incident. According to eyewitness accounts, fireworks exploded 5 or 10 meters away from the car that was carrying journalists accompanying President Ahmadinejad and nearly 100 meters away from the president's car.
قرابة 100 متر عن سيارة الرئيس محمود أحمدنجاد وقال من كان
The eyewitnesses said there have been no reports of injuries.
Rida, how is this news echoing on the internal Iranian front?
So
far, there have been no official announcements by Tehran. However, 2 days ago, President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad said that the Israeli intelligence agency, Mossad, and Israel are attempting to assassinate him. He made official announcements about these assassination attempts against him by Israel. However, we can't link what happened today with the assassination attempts announced by President Ahmadinejad. Again, we can't make the connection.
Did the president return from Hamdan to Tehran? Will there be any official announcements to clarify what happened?
President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's visit to Hamdan was scheduled for 24 hours. The Iranian president is expected to stay in Hamdan according to schedule, and he will not cut his visit short. Again, he will not return to the Iranian capital, Tehran, before completing his work in Hamdan. As far as the incident is concerned, some of the Iranian news agencies, including the president's media office, are expected to release further details about this incident.
Rida Al-Basha, our correspondent in Tehran, thank you.
Our Al Jazeera correspondent in Beirut has quoted a Lebanese security source saying that retired Colonel Fayez Karam has been arrested on suspicion of spying for Israel.
Karam is a co-founder of the Lebanese Free Patriotic Movement and a member of its political bureau.
The security source described the detained colonel as a very dangerous spy whose contact with Israel goes back in time.
Joining us from Beirut is our Al Jazeera correspondent, Salam Khouder.
Do you have any new information on the circumstances surrounding the arrest and the reasons behind it?
All available information indicates that retired Colonel Fayez Karam was detained last night by the Information Division of the Internal Security Forces, ISF. The questioning began this morning. The case is being handled by the Information Division, which is currently interrogating him. Any information or questions that may compromise the investigation will not be made available. All what we know is that retired Colonel Fayez Karam was detained last night by the Information Division of the ISF. So far, the Free Patriotic Movement has not commented on this case. We have learned that the leader of the Free Patriotic Movement, General Michel Aoun, was informed this morning of Karam's arrest on suspicion of collaborating with the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad. The retired Karam held several posts at the Lebanese army and underwent several training sessions, most notably a military intelligence training session in the United States. He also led the Counterterrorism and Spying Bureau before retiring from the Lebanese army and joining the Free Patriotic Movement in the late 1980s. At the time, Lebanese Member of Parliament Michel Aoun served as the head of the military and government, which was formed in Lebanon following the end of President Amin Gemayel's reign and after members of parliament failed to elect a new president. At the time, civil war was still brewing in Lebanon. After the return of General Aoun in 2005 to Lebanon, Colonel Fayez Karam returned with him and ran in the parliamentary elections for a northern province but lost the bid. To sum up, the spy case is being handled by the Information Division of the ISF. Once his involvement is confirmed, the investigation into what type of information Colonel Karam passed to the Israeli Mossad will continue. According to unconfirmed information, Fayez Karam has confessed to spying for the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad.
Thank you very much for this information, Salam Khouder. Thank you. In another development, the Lebanese Minister of Information, Tarek Mitri, said that the uprooting of trees today close to the Lebanon-Israel border was carried out in consultation with UNIFIL forces and under their supervision, unlike Israel's actions yesterday.
Al Jazeera has obtained pictures of trees being uprooted at the border point where clashes erupted yesterday near the Lebanese village of Edessa, killing several people from both sides.
Marking the 1500th day since Gilad Shalit's capture, Amnesty International issued a call to the Hamas leadership in Gaza to allow the International Red Cross to visit the kidnapped soldier. Gilad's parents, Noam and Aviva Shalit, today turned their attention to the Palestinian public. The Shalits held a press conference for foreign media at the American Colony Hotel in eastern Jerusalem. Ahead of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, the Shalits appealed to the Palestinian people to pressure their leadership to reach a prisoner swap agreement with Israel.
Ended by the request that the Palestinians will increase the pressure on their leaders, same as we put pressure right now on our leaders, on our Prime Minister, on our government, in order to carry out the swap deal of prisoners.
And now I'd like to welcome Kadima Knesset member, former IDF spokesman, Dr. Nachman Shai. Welcome. Nachman, thank you very much for being here. The incident on the north does not bode well. How do you see it?
There's growing tension all around Israel in the past few days, and that's not an incident. That's someone maybe in the back orchestrating a certain raise in the volume of violence in the region.
You're connecting this with the Eilat attack and with the Gaza attack.
It seems like it's coming from, it started in Gaza, moved down to Eilat, then up north. It can't be just by mistake. And I would compare it to a kind of an orchestra, you know. Once you play on this, on the violin, once on the piano, you are playing games with Israel, and you try to see what will be the reaction. In the back, I think what they are concerned, all parties, is some progress in the negotiation between us and the Palestinians. That scares a lot of states and organizations in our region, and they try to block it.
And as you know, Hezbollah armed to the teeth with, over 30,000 rockets, all aimed at us. We have to keep our deterrence strong in order to prevent an attack, at the same time not inflame the region. It's difficult, it's tough.
Usually the commander of the Northern Command used to say that when the fire finally starts or erupts, they will never imagine, they cannot imagine how strong the Israeli reaction will be. This was not the case today, because it was not the Hezbollah, it was the Lebanese army, which is a kind of a new factor in the game. But I'm also very much will be surprised if we can use the entire force of Israel in the north, based on what happened to us even recently with the flotilla. I mean, the world teaches us a certain lesson. You have to limit the power you use. You cannot use your power as much as you want. There is a certain proportion of power that you can use in a conflict, including a flotilla. If it's a conflict or not, I'm not sure, but in any incident. So it applies to the north, not less than the flotilla.
Okay, you mentioned the flotilla, of course, and I ask you this, and only half in jest, because it's not funny at all, it's sad, but can we expect another commission of inquiry into what happened today in Lebanon?
No, but we have already five committees in a way. We started with Ireland.
Into the flotilla incident.
The flotilla. I mean, you ask whether there's a new one coming in. I don't think so. But we actually appealed to the UN to find out what happened. Yeah, we complained, which we do more and more recently, trying actually to prove to the UN there is a case with what we are doing, and actually to build. And that's, by the way, not that stupid. We kind to build our case. And if we fight or react in the future, there'll be a kind of a basis why we have done it, based on those complaints. So I don't expect the UN to do anything, but let's say the case is not here in Israel or in the Middle East, it's out there in New York.
The Israeli government held a meeting this morning to discuss the repercussions of the clashes that took place yesterday on the Israeli-Lebanese border. Our BBC correspondent in Jerusalem reported that the Israeli government said that UNIFIL's position confirms the Israeli side of the story, in that the tree, which was the cause of yesterday's clashes, was inside Israeli territory.
They talked about yesterday's security developments on the Lebanese side, and also the repercussions of the Katyusha rockets that fell on Eilat 2 days ago. However, there have been no official statements about the security meeting. We know that the participating ministers attended a review by the Israeli Army and Intelligence of the security repercussions of the events that took place in the south and also the north.
وكان هنالك عرض أيضا لموقف اليونيفيل يعني كان واضحا وعلى الأقل هذا الرد الوحيد الذي سمعناه.
It's clear that UNIFIL's position was also presented. At least this is the only response we got from the office of the Prime Minister, who said that he completely supports the statements of UNIFIL and UNIFIL's commander, who said that the tree that was cut down, which was perhaps the cause of yesterday's events, was inside Israeli territory.
For its part, the international forces in southern Lebanon, UNIFIL, said that there is no evidence that Israeli forces violated Lebanese territory after the two sides exchanged gunfire near the border. The incident resulted in the death of 3 Lebanese soldiers and 1 Israeli officer. Lebanon accused Israel of violating its border, but Israeli media is describing the incident as a trap set by the Lebanese army for the Israeli forces. Along the Lebanon-Israel border, tension returns once again. An exchange of fire near the border resulted in death and injuries among both the Lebanese and Israeli armies. However, there are conflicting versions to this story.
الرواية الإسرائيلية تقول إن جنوداً إسرائيليين كانوا يقومون بأعمال صيانة روتينية.
The Israeli version of the story is that Israeli soldiers were conducting routine maintenance inside Israeli territory when the Lebanese army shot at them. The incident is being described by Israeli media as a trap set by the Lebanese for the Israeli soldiers, especially since the international forces in southern Lebanon, UNIFIL, were already aware of the maintenance work. The international forces confirmed the Israeli version and clarified that there is no evidence of an Israeli violation of Lebanese territory.
وبدأت إسرائيل في نشر تعزيزات عسكرية ضخمة على
Israel has increased its military presence on border areas with the goal of protecting its forces there. Israeli sources said that this step aims at sending a clear message to Lebanon, which is that Israel has the right to do whatever it pleases inside its territory.
من أعمال داخل حدودها. أما الجانب اللبناني فيقول إن القوات الإسرائيلية.
As for the Lebanese side, it accuses the Israeli forces of breaching the border and cutting down a tree inside Lebanese territory, which is why the Lebanese army fired warning shots. And even though Hezbollah was not part of the tension this time, this did not prevent its Secretary General, Hassan Nasrallah, of confirming the party's support of the Lebanese army in confronting any Israeli violation of Lebanese territory. The clashes, which are the first between the two sides since the Israel-Hezbollah war in 2006, caused concern in the international community. The Security Council has called for restraint from both Israel and Lebanon in fear of inflaming tension in this region, which has already witnessed a lot of turmoil. Sally Nabil, BBC. Landmines, ammunitions, and other explosives have been threatening the lives of tens of thousands of Golan Heights residents. This started when Israeli forces occupied the territory in 1967. But despite the landmines and all the suffering caused by them, the people of the Golan are still waiting for international resolutions to be issued that would recognize the Golan Heights as Syrian territory. Our reporter Tamara Milham has more details in this report.
Between the heavenly landscape and the historic events that took place in the Golan Heights, its people recount stories of their struggle for survival. What is remarkable about this place is that with every step you take, the scenery gets more beautiful, yet the journey more difficult. Our first stop was Al Marsad, the Arab Center for Human Rights in the Golan Heights.
The Golan has been under Israeli military occupation for 43 years. There was also a decision to annex the Golan to Israel, which violates UN resolutions and its charter.
The Golan residents live in constant fear over the fate of their land and their life.
Most of the Golan was transformed into areas for military usage. Another part of the territory is reserved for settlements and agriculture in the service of these settlements. So the areas that are used by the military are filled with landmines. And inside the Golan, some regions referred to as vital by them were also densely filled with landmines. There are more than 60 fields filled with landmines in the Golan, covering 1,000 square kilometers.
The landmines in these fields have killed or injured more than 100 people. 40% of them are under the age of 15. Salah Salman Abu Arar, a native of Majd al-Shams village, was one of the people injured by these landmines in March 1982. He was on strike, protesting the Israeli citizenship that was being imposed on the residents. Salah was a boy, not even 13 years old at the time, and he did not expect that to happen. He stepped on the landmine, which immediately exploded and cost him his hand, leg, and one eye.
It stole my childhood and it stole my dreams. Perhaps I might be able to put my life back in order sometime in the future, but it took away my life and replaced my body with somebody else's.
Salah, whom we met by the ceasefire line, experienced many life events that alternate between screams of joy and sorrow. On this side of the line, close to Majd al-Shams, a landmine exploded under him. Today, there is a house on the site of the explosion. On the other side, just several meters away, across the line he is forbidden to cross, his family lives. While the family's decision to split up is still being discussed, Israel has decided that the army is not responsible for the landmine explosions.
They held me responsible for the incident, saying that I should take responsibility for my own life.
The Golan is filled with landmines, and there's a military camp in the middle of these residential houses, and residents are not allowed to look out from their balconies. From these houses, for example, you reach the landmine field when you open the back door. Despite the landmines, the isolation and domestic exile, this symbol remains a reminder and message to the Golan people of the international resolutions that state that this land is Syrian territory. They are looking for a balance between life and death. Tamadir Milhem, Russia Today.
Al Arabiya has learned that the decision to ban BlackBerry services, which was announced by the Saudi Communications Commission, will take effect on Friday and will only include the messenger service. The Commission confirmed that its decision will be in place until its year-old demands from the three companies are met.
The BlackBerry crisis is expanding in Gulf countries. Saudi Arabia has decided to immediately stop the phone services to both the commercial sector and individuals this coming Friday. As for the reason, it says that the manufacturer of BlackBerry phones has not met the regulatory demands of the Saudi Communication and Information Technology Commission. The kingdom's decision was not surprising. Over 1 year ago, the Commission had informed Saudi Arabia's wireless providers of the necessity to work with BlackBerry's manufacturer, known as RIM, and based in Canada, to meet the regulatory demands. In addition, these companies were accorded a final 3-month deadline. However, the efforts of Saudi telecommunications companies seem to have been unsuccessful, which is why the Communications Commission issued its decision to block the service until these demands are met. It is worth mentioning that the Emirates have decided to ban some BlackBerry services inside and outside the country. The ban was issued for security reasons and will start on October 11th. The decision was taken after engaging in negotiations with the Canadian manufacturer of BlackBerry, RIM, for 3 years, without reaching any results due to the company's insistence on maintaining all of its services, which caused numerous disagreements between the company and Arab and foreign governments. The reason being that government institutions are unable to monitor the content of messages and the information that is available on the network. And while RIM responded to Kuwait's demand to block more than 3,000 porn sites, it also agreed to grant India's security agencies the right to monitor emails sent with smartphones after India threatened to stop the company's services. This decision makes one wonder how far the Canadian company is willing to go in its concessions to Gulf countries in its aim to regain its customers. Alia Ezeldin, Al Arabiya.
As the month of Ramadan approaches, the demand for the essentials of this holy month is increasing, especially for dates, dried fruits, and nuts. As the prices have varied, sellers have also varied the means to attract customers to their goods. They resort to naming their goods after sports stars and artists. However, political stars were absent from the competition.
The echo of this sound can be heard in every Egyptian market right now. Some calls and signs are used to sell Ramadan goods, while others are to attract customers. At the beginning, the response seems to be limited, even though prices vary between £5 and £70.
We say that God helps. It's possible that God will one day thwart evil from you, and these are the blessings.
Reduced prices for Ramadan, the most essential goods.
Sakuti, Bunduki, Iswani, Shamia. Various names decorate date baskets this year. These baskets carried the names of artists and sports stars. This season, the most notable names are Al Limbi and Abu Trika. The names of politicians such as Obama, who were main newsmakers last year, have disappeared. Even though these labels help attract consumers, prices are what determine a sale, especially for dates, considered to be the most important ingredient for breakfast drink.
It's expensive, of course, expensive.
The prices are reasonable that everyone can afford. There are average prices and expensive ones.
Prices have relatively increased, but not by much, 1 or 2 pounds per kilo.
In between the hidden costs and the fluctuating prices that customers are now accustomed to, the month of Ramadan offers goods that are usually not essential, but constitute an indivisible part of the spirituality of this holy month.
The views expressed on Mosaic are from contributing broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible from support of viewers like you. Thank you. Watch Mosaic World News online, stay up to date with breaking news, read our blog, get transcripts of past shows and more at linktv.org/mosaic.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs, programs which connect you to the world.